You know when you see the mainstream media report a balanced, honest view of Elon Musk, Tesla or electric vehicles? Yeah, me neither. But this piece by CNBC seems, dare I say it, pretty unbiased. Let's take a look at the reality of Chinese car manufacturers versus Tesla and what that means for the greater good.
The greater good.
你好，小皮，自动泊车 Please park the car.
Lately, we've been hearing a lot of this.
You've got companies like NIO, companies like Lishan, these Chinese NEV makers that are frankly as good, if not better than Tesla right now.
I
know people will say Americans won't buy Chinese. You know what? You ask somebody, do you want to pay $9,000 for an SUV or do you want to pay $19,000 or $20,000 for an SUV? No contest.
And this.
Causing some concern to the likes of Elon Musk and Tesla and a number of other car makers.
China is the largest auto producer in the world. 1 in 3 cars is built there. In fact, it has become so productive, its own market can't absorb the inventory. And so the age of the much-feared Chinese auto export has begun.
For Americans, it's hard to process that because we don't see Chinese cars on American roads. Trust me. Go to Australia, to Mexico, to Brazil, to Israel, to South Africa. You're going to see Chinese cars all over the place.
Yeah, I'm spotting that too. There's a lot of EVs in jolly old England, mostly Tesla's mind, but plenty of MGs about, Chinese owned. The lovely Polestar, Chinese owned, and the odd BYD, most certainly Chinese.
American trade groups and others worry China will do with cars what it has done with countless other industries: eradicate competition with cheap labor and materials and abundant government support.
Yeah, and not forgetting the consumers that get cheaper products. Yay!
Chinese firms are already pushing out competitors at home. The Biden administration slapped a 100% tariff on Chinese EVs in an effort to stop the onslaught before it starts.
Tesla got caught flat-footed in the China market because no one anticipated such a severe turn to clean energy vehicles.
Hello! Us Tesla addicts on YouTube and X have been screaming about this for years. Didn't see it coming? I'm in a quaint little town in the middle of England and I spotted it years ago.
And we're seeing the effects of that. All the legacy automakers are scrambling.
They're not just shopping them because they're cheap. They've super-scaled the set of features that consumers are demanding.
So how formidable are Chinese EVs? How do they stack up against the world's most popular model, the Tesla Model Y? CNBC tried a few to find out.
So this is the Tesla Model Y. This is currently the best-selling car in the world.
Woo! The acceleration on these things is incredible.
Tesla is a really highly respected brand in China, but homegrown Chinese automakers are really catching up.
And in some cases, surpassing.
In fact, there are around 140 EV brands in the country.
And at least in China, some of them are outselling Tesla.
Whoa. The Tesla Model Y is the top-selling car in China for the 7th consecutive month and the top cumulative sales of new energy vehicles. Some of the 139 Chinese brands of cars outselling Tesla? No, they're just not. Unless, of course, you are accidentally classing hybrids as full electric cars and bundling them up with BYD sales. That's sneaky and incorrect.
This is Eunice Yoon, CNBC's Beijing bureau chief. She set out to try some of the Chinese crossovers comparable to the Model Y. With a few technical exceptions like Chinese-owned brands such as Volvo, Polestar, and Lotus, Chinese cars aren't available in the US yet.
I was surprised myself driving these cars. One of BYD's big selling points is that they're able to give you a car that is a 7-seater, a little bit of a shorter range than a Model Y, but at the same time, it's $11,000 cheaper.
How do they get the cost down that much? Well, and then we get into that kind of secret Chinese superpower of state capitalism, where you have entrepreneurs driving costs down, innovating, designing better product, while at the same time getting tremendous support from city, provincial, and national political leaders who want China to win.
And perhaps they will eventually win, if the measurement for winning means outselling Tesla at some point in the future. Chinese auto companies will keep improving, innovating, driving costs down, and be hot on the heels of Tesla by, let's face it, copying Tesla. All this in total contrast, by the way, with traditional auto companies who are still struggling to build profitable EVs, let alone trick enough people into buying them.
About 40% of China's cost advantage is attributable to its engine batteries, which make up about 20 to 30% of a vehicle's total cost.
BYD has done a phenomenal job of making in-house 75-80% of the parts that go into their car. So they own the batteries and the battery supply chains. That's clear, and it contributes to lower cost and higher quality.
What was I just saying about legacy auto companies not being able to compete again? Imagine being Ford or General Motors here, knowing that it costs you 4 times the amount of money to build an EV compared to BYD. Brutal.
So we were in the Xpeng G6. When you look at the specs and the dimensions, it's almost identical to the Model Y.
But at $27K, it's almost $9,000 cheaper.
This is crucial. Chinese cars aren't just cheap. They offer value for money.
What Henry Ford did to this industry is he took something that was a rich person's toy and made it so that anybody working in a factory could afford it. China is democratizing the smart EV.
And smart is the key word here. This means connected to the internet and loaded with tech.
Chinese EVs tend to have a lot of bells and whistles. For example, I could ventilate my seat to deal with the summer heat. Ooh, yeah, I can feel it. I could change a setting so that this EV sounds as though it's running on gas.
Let me fix that for you.
And I could tell the AI assistant to park the car without me. This is very handy.
Li Auto does market itself as more of a family type of car maker.
To pull that off, the company offers extras you won't find in a Tesla. Technically, this one wasn't an EV. It has a gas-powered range extender on board.
The extender appeals to road-tripping families or the many drivers stuck for hours in the city's notorious gridlock.
Li Auto's L6 is about the same price as a Model Y, but has a longer range at 893 miles. So we are driving during rush hour in Beijing traffic, but this 5-seater is designed for families, and in a Chinese context, that means that a lot of extra creature comforts are common in the cabin. Family in the front seats can watch TV or get massaged by their chairs, and if you want a cold drink, there's a fridge in the back.
Ooh, I like the fridge. We could keep our picnic in there when we go to work at weddings. And come to think of it, massage seats would be nice too. Blimey, I'm sold! But hang on a minute, this is a hybrid. So it still pollutes, still requires burning fuel as well as your money, requires more maintenance and has more to go wrong. On second thoughts, Li Auto, I'll stick with my Tesla, thanks.
At the higher end, there are innovations that companies like Tesla have only talked about. Take NIO, for example. It was a hyped IPO on the NYSE back in 2018, but shares are down 90% from a 2021 high due to sluggish sales growth and high cash burn. The company is relatively small, with a $9 billion market cap, and it only sells electric vehicles, about 160,000 of them in 2023. NIO has had its own way of dealing with charging challenges. Battery swapping, something that Tesla had considered. NIO actually did it.
If you want to swap your battery, first you find a station. You check what batteries they have, and then you place the order.
There are 3,500 battery swapping stations around the country, most of which are NIO's.
So we're 92% charged, and that took a little less than 10 minutes.
10 minutes? Now imagine a queue of 3 cars in front of you. Tesla did consider battery swaps in their early days, but pointed out some very obvious flaws. Batteries are needed in cars, not lying around unused waiting patiently for an insertion. And when observing these battery swap stations, more often than not, customers would swap their batteries, then park up next to them for 20 minutes and wander off for a coffee and a wee. Might just as well have plugged in your EV for 20 minutes and charged the battery the old-fashioned way. Battery swap stations are wholly unnecessary in my humble opinion. There's a constantly growing global network of fast, reliable chargers. Thanks again, Tesla, for opening them up to everybody.
It's not difficult to find charging points here in Beijing. This map says 8 out of the 10 near me are available. China currently has 3 million public charging facilities.
A lot of China auto industry analysts say the tech-forward features in and around these cars are really where Chinese automakers have a leg up on global competition. They are turning cars into connected devices that can work within the larger Internet of Things.
The AI assistant Nomi is a draw as well. While other car AI systems respond to direct voice commands such as turn off the air conditioner, people on social media say that Nomi sounds more like a person. Hey Nomi, I feel so cold. 我很冷.
So, for example, instead of saying, turn off the air conditioner, I would say, oh, I'm feeling really cold right now. And then it would say, oh, okay. And then I was like, how about I just turn down the air conditioner? And then it would also make some jokes sometimes. So, when it was signing off, it was like, bye.
Can you imagine when Grok gets integrated into Tesla as its AI assistant?
Get out of my car now!
Okay, Grok, you're the boss. I hope we can choose the voice. I mean, Bender, Bill Burr, Alan Rickman? Who do you want giving you orders? Let me know in the comments, and if you haven't yet, chuck us a like. It helps the YouTube algorithm spread me around to more people. Thanks very much.
It's no longer how many units of hardware you sell. It's all the data and analytics and aggregation and monetization of services that happen after you sell the car. That's the new business model.
If you look at a company like Apple, they sell us things that we didn't know we needed. And they charge us a 35% premium for it.
Welcome to the future, where software as a service turns cars into money printers for the companies that have compelling services to offer, that is. How much would you be willing to pay for a fully autonomous car to taxi you or your family around in safety, freeing up your time to do more important things like work, sleep, or play? All very important things, by the way. Or how about adding your car to a network of robo-taxis when you are not using it, earning you money whilst you sleep? This, ladies and gentlemen, is coming from just the one auto company that has the solution to autonomy. Can you guess who that is? I'll give you a clue. It's not Waymo.
This morning, San Francisco residents are fed up after being kept up at night by driverless Waymo cars.
If you don't know what's going on here, I'll link this video next. It's hilarious, but back to China.
All of these Chinese EV makers are trying to distinguish themselves somehow. So they keep putting in all these different technology features. Some of them were really, really fun, but then there were some that were not as useful. And in fact, didn't really work very well. So in 2 different cars, we tried the auto parking. And it was a little stressful.
你好，小皮，自动泊车. Please park the car. So that didn't quite work. We're about 7 or 8 inches from the car next to us. We didn't hit it, so that's a good thing.
Didn't hit it? Nice to know that that's a win for some people who can't park.
But driving a tech-forward Chinese EV comes with its own costs.
What struck me about all of these Chinese EVs is how they didn't focus as much on performance, and it kind of showed. When I was in the Model Y, you could have pretty good control in the car, and that wasn't really the case on the whole for the cars that we were in that were from the Chinese EV makers. You didn't have that same level of precision when you were making a turn, for example. And in fact, that's a trend and something that is almost common knowledge among Chinese drivers. They'll talk about, oh, there's the Tesla, there's the Model Y, the Model 3, they're the performance cars.
And one reason Chinese car makers can keep prices low might be that they sometimes don't offer more bang for buck. They make compromises.
Yeah, nail on the head there. I don't really want compromises when it comes to crash safety. I want safety to be the priority for every car company, not just Tesla.
You could really tell the difference from the ones that were pricier. They had nicer finishes, they had nicer interiors, they felt better. There weren't as many kind of jinky or odd designs that were inside the car. For example, in one of the cars that I was in, the steering wheel was kind of off compared to where I'd be sitting. The windshield wipers was placed in an odd place for my hand.
And even the premium vehicles show signs that these are new companies, new models, new designs, and automakers haven't worked out a lot of the kinks yet.
There's one car that I was in that had really nice leather chairs, but the way that the chairs moved, when you're driving, it's just squeaking the entire time. One of the other models that I was in, it was so loud. Maybe these Chinese companies still don't have it down.
My personal experience of driving Chinese cars is just that. It's very noticeable that key things like performance, handling, software, refinement, it's all just so much better in a Tesla. Precision is the perfect word to describe not only Tesla's steering, but each and every component and functionality of it. Everything is just so perfectly designed and refined for the end user. And as for the updated version of the Model 3, a couple of words come to mind. Uncompromised and undeniable. Just wait till the Model Y gets the same refresh treatment.
So are foreign automakers doomed in China?
You want the short answer? Yes.
Some industry watchers have said they suspect it will be hard for non-Chinese firms to compete when homegrown brands are tapping in so well to the Chinese preference for tech. And then there's the question of which of these companies and which business model can succeed. The highly integrated firm that can just beat on cost, or the highly connected smart EV maker that makes money off of services and subscriptions.
BYD has already established that the proof of concept that they can execute on a business model and be competitive with anybody worldwide in terms of quality, design, and cost. This other notion of a greater ecosystem built around a digital system may very well be the future, may be the TikTok of cars, but I'm not ready to say absolutely they're going to run away with everything because they have a better digital experience. Don't know yet. And can they duplicate in different languages and different cultures a comparably high level of enjoyment as they do at home for their own consumers? That's a big cultural step for them to take.
And their own financial situation is by no means secure.
Most of these companies aren't profitable. That's another characteristic of tech. Most of the tech companies, until they reach a critical mass or a certain inflection point from a sales cycle standpoint, they're not going to be profitable. And the price war is exacerbating that a bit.
So, will Chinese EV makers dominate the global industry?
For Chinese EVs, the big challenge is going to be to convince people overseas who have brand loyalty to the GMs and the Toyotas and the VWs, and to be able to convince them to switch not only to EVs, but to Chinese EVs that they've never heard of. That's, to me, where the performance issues and also these little odd design quirks really count. Because a car is different from a mobile phone, for example. A car is something that you put your family in. And then, of course, there's the price. You know, you have all these discussions about, oh, the government subsidies, and there's so much competition in the market. And I think all of that doesn't necessarily matter, because at the end of the day, it's going to be the consumers who decide who's really going to be ahead.
Am I the only one surprised after sitting through this mainstream media report from CNBC, which seems very thoughtful, unbiased even? It's like finding a rare diamond. Well done. I think these Chinese auto companies will get there with time, experience, and future improvements and iterations of their vehicles. Let's not forget that these companies are very new, younger even than Tesla, who is reaching maturity at the tender age of just 21. I always assumed that customers would know the difference between a mediocre car and a really good one. I dare say most people couldn't care less about certain tech in cars, how precise the steering is, the performance and handling, or even bother to check the safety of a vehicle before buying it. For this reason alone then, you can sell a dead horse to certain folk. Not at all saying these Chinese cars are dead horses, they are not. But do they need to be as good as a Tesla to sell millions around the world? Probably not. Tesla is still king, evidently from producing the world's best-selling car, and the Chinese car companies are doing what's necessary to copy Tesla, and are doing their best to catch up. Not that they ever will catch up to Tesla, because Tesla is out accelerating them. But as usual, it's legacy car companies that still need to start climbing Mount Improbable by building compelling, affordable, profitable EVs, whilst at the same time watch the crushing reality of their internal combustion engine vehicle sales fall off a cliff. As I reported recently, China's new energy vehicle sales reached a staggering 50% of new cars sold, undoubtedly hitting the sales from traditional auto companies such as Volkswagen, Toyota, Nissan and others. What a mess the car industry is in. Still, I enjoy a bit of vindication, so follow my ramblings here at Tesla Jigsaw. Here's a perfect follow-on story from this with how China's EV revolution will change the world forever. Or if you fancy a laugh, click this one instead. It's a honking mad story. I'm Will, this is the Tesla Jigsaw. Thank you, Patreons, and thank you for watching. Bye for now.